such a shame for Valtteri Bottas and for Cadillac, the 167th constructor to enter into Formula One, the first full start-up team since Haas made their debut in 2016. The entry is not closed, so they're all going to barrel in. Lindblad, Verstappen, and then Ollie Bearman coming into the pits to make their first pit stop. Bortoletto's coming in too.
Lindblad's first ever pit stop in Formula One, and he was taking it carefully. And Max, oh, what's happened there? They had to hold him briefly to find a gap for him to feed back into. But so Lindblad obviously treating the speed line a little bit cautiously. And Max was very angsty behind him, wanted to make the most of it.
Now, Lance Stroll is out on track in the Aston Martin. Charles Leclerc is right behind him currently. Stroll is a long way off the pace and about to be lapped. Don't know if you can lap a car under the VSC. I would have thought you actually can't.
You can't overtake, no.
I'm surprised Ferrari didn't come straight into the pits. I'd have thought the timing was absolutely right for them to make a pit stop, but maybe they just wanted, maybe they thought there was at least a couple of laps behind this VSC. So I tell you what, we'll use one on the old tyres and one on the new tyres. Bernie.
Yeah, I need to go back and track through it properly, but I think they were just too far ahead of the pit entry, so they didn't have the opportunity that others did.
I'm hearing their lead strategist, also known as Lewis Hamilton, is not at all happy about this. The pit lane entry is now closed, so Ferrari didn't see that one coming, did they?
Well, it's funny, you did. Do you want a job of lead strategist?
I'll tell you why I did, because Bernadette Collins, the strategist, told me, so I won't claim that for myself.
Yeah, she knows a thing or two. Marshall's on the track, so they have to close it now. This is why Valtteri Bottas, or what happened to Valtteri Bottas. And I think he was told to stop.
No, he didn't just trundle into the Aussie V8, sorry, the F2 supplementary pit lane.
He was told to stop immediately, and that's why he did comply with that. Now, this is bad news for Ferrari, who are leading this race, but haven't stopped yet. The VSC is ending. They need to start building up a bit of a gap here, if they can, as Max Verstappen is right on it behind Arvid Lindblad, who moves over to the left-hand side and slams that door shut in the face of the four-time world champion. Rookie against four-time world champion here.
Sister cars, a sister team, of course, but Lindblad, in his first Grand Prix, will not be intimidated by Max Verstappen. He's gone very wide in turn 3, but recovers it. So the 18-year-old is keeping his head under extreme pressure, and there's nothing between these two teams anymore where they say, just let my man through, would you please? It's not like there's a world championship anywhere near at stake at the moment.
Max Verstappen was Formula One world champion for what, 1,457 consecutive days, pulling off overtake after overtake at will sometimes, and he's going to try and pull off another overtake here on the young rookie Arvid Lindblad into turn 9. He's got his Red Bull ahead and up into 6th place. While that happens, Esteban Ocon goes past Gabriel Bortoletto and moves up into 9th place.
Ferrari better hope there's another virtual safety car, but Bernie said that she thought they were too far past the pit entry to use that.
My tyres are still okay, do not box me at the same time.
Lewis is thinking, how can I just gain a bit of an edge on my teammate here?
Do not box me at the same time. I do not want to sit in the pit lane waiting behind him, thank you very much. And then you've got to get all your restarts sorted out with your turbos. So Lewis, and quite a bit of graining on his front left, but he's just saying, don't stack us. Don't stack us.
I think the thing is, Martin, everyone will have to stop again of the leading contenders. So whilst it might look like Ferrari have lost out a bit as Pierre Gasly right behind Esteban Ocon tries to squeeze down into turn 3, and Ocon gets hit by the front left tyre of the Alpine and then has to move off and out of the way. Gasly's up in a 10th place. But Ferrari, they need to stop. They haven't stopped yet. The other leading contenders are all going to have to stop again. It might be that they've not lost out if they can put a decent pace in these next few laps. And that could be a big if, looking at the pace of the two Mercedes.
And Antonelli flying along nicely, but we'll see how they settle down again. So the Ferraris in the 123s, Russell 122.6 on his fresher tyres. So you can't help but think that the Mercedes is the faster car in this race, but Ferrari have done well with getting track position, mostly because of the start.
Leclerc leads from Hamilton, 1.5 seconds, give or take. The gap. George Russell catching Lewis Hamilton. In 5 laps' time, he's going to be right on the tail of his former teammate. Kimi Antonelli runs in 4th, Lando Norris 5th, and Max Verstappen up to 6th after starting 20th on the grid. Arvid Lindblad is 7th and Ollie Behrman is 8th, and there are 5 British drivers in this race. Currently, the 5 British drivers are all in the top 8. You know, but let's fly the Union flag there.
One of them, the reigning world champion, hasn't got any speed. Lando Norris afternoon. Max Verstappen's catching him very quickly in every sector of the lap. So for some reason, and we haven't really seen any lightning pace from Norris and his McLaren today.
I just wonder as well, with what happened to Oscar Piastri on the laps to the grid, have McLaren had to be a bit cautious in this race to try and prevent anything like that happening to Lando in the race? Is the only McLaren in it, and it's, you want to get to the checker flag, but
you do. But no, I think it was a very specific thing, wasn't it, with Piastri going to the grid? So yeah, Leclerc and Hamilton then running still in the mid-23s. 2 Mercedes in the late 1:22s, and then a big gap to Norris in the late 1:23s. So he's done 23.6, his best lap of the race now, Lando Norris, but it's still off the pace. So we'll see how the rest of the afternoon unfolds. Ollie Behrman is right on the back of Arvid Lindblad as well now.
Ollie Behrman in his 2nd full season in Formula 1 and having a much better Australian Grand Prix than he had down here in Albert Park last year, where he didn't take part in qualifying. Started from the pit lane, only finished 14th in the race. Oscar Piastri speaking to the media. We'll hear from him with Rachel Brooks in a short while. He'll be absolutely devastated, I'm sure, with what's happened, but he'll pick himself up, go to China and try again. Under investigation, Sergio Perez for forcing another driver off the track with Liam Lawson. Stewards having a little look at that one. Gap in the front, 1.7 seconds between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, make that 1.6 as Lewis crosses the line. The gap back to George Russell, 4.1 seconds. Give it another 3 laps. The clever computer says he'll be right on the tail of Lewis Hamilton. Bernie Collins, to you.
Yeah, just going to come in quickly on what you said there about Lando Norris. His pace looking a little bit off. They have been discussing how he can improve that pace, and he's just been told directly from the pit wall, I know you're worried about the front left. Push a little bit more, we're making this a 2-stop. So it seems like Norris was a bit unsure how much management he needed to do with that front left tyre, as we heard Martin describe earlier for Verstappen's car, and now he's been told we're committed to the 2-stop, let's push on this tyre a little bit more.
And he responds with his fastest lap of the race. Thanks, Bernie.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, that, but he's still not in the 122s like the Mercedes, where he needs to be. So Ferrari then, because they're deploying and regenerating, obviously in exactly the same way, they're unsurprisingly, they're circulating at a very consistent distance with the package they've got, and they obviously now want to try to get these tyres somewhat further into the race. But Hamilton's front looks ugly. His front left tyre, you can see that sort of dark stripe on it as he comes down the pit straight now, his front left.
It's not pretty, is it? And he was 0.7 of a second slower than Charles Leclerc on lap 24. Charles Leclerc leading this race, trying to do something that no one has ever done in the hybrid era here in Albert Park, and that's win this Grand Prix from outside the top 3 on the grid. He started 4th in this race. And the 1, 2, 3 on this grid today was George Russell, Kimi Antonelli and Isaac Hadjar. Hadjar's out the race, so still the 1, 2, 3 have never finished in that order in an Albert Park F1 race. This is Pierre Gasly and his battle with Esteban Ocon.
Plenty of history between those two, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Here at Albert Park, where they, as teammates, crashed into each other and were out of the race and ruined what would have been a sensational finish for them that day. They're under investigation by the stewards. Esteban Ocon's been noted for driving unnecessarily slowly, and that was the box shout from Ferrari to your race leader, Charles Leclerc.
Box and stop, box and stop. It is the international phrase for "we want to see you in the pit lane, please." Ted is down there, I know, as Charles Leclerc navigates his way into what's quite a long entry before he gets to the speed limit line, and there it is. And take it away, Ted.
But they've given away 10 seconds of race time. Ferrari have given away race time that they could have had by stopping now. Yes, it's onto the hard tyres. Yes, this is target lap for a one-stopper going medium to hard, but they've just given away loads of lap time to Mercedes. We'll see what happens to Lewis Hamilton. We'll be praying for a VSC. I don't know whether he's going to get it. Where he might get it, Martin, is that the Aston has rejoined the race. Fernando Alonso has had a nice little time in the pits. He's got the feeling back in his hands and has rejoined the race.
Yeah.
How many laps down? 10 laps down?
Yeah, it still says on our timing screen that he's in the pits, but you're right. I can see him now out on the track.
Well, he passed me. I'm absolutely sure he's rejoined. He's on the soft tyres. And well done to Lance Stroll for making it past the 15 laps. In fact, we're now 25 laps where he felt he couldn't continue because of the vibrations, causing nerve damage to his fingers.
Well, look, there's 4 drivers definitely out of this race. If they can finish Aston Martin, that might be very, very important later on in the season. Lewis Hamilton yet to pit. Don't forget, of course, Ferrari sticking to their guns and the strategy that they wanted going into this race. And Russell and Antonelli are still going to have to pit again. And if you haven't got the pace of the Mercedes, and Hamilton's carrying on again, if you can't beat Mercedes pace for pace throughout the race, you've got to try a different strategy.
You have, but it feels like a mistake, doesn't it? Because they're now, if Mercedes have got to pit again, which we expect they will, they'll have much fresher tyres at the end of the Grand Prix anyway. So there's the grainy you can see on his front tyre. Lewis was really wrestling that car on the previous lap. I was somewhat surprised that he didn't come in to the pit lane. And what he's trying to do is get a tyre offset against his teammate. If he can get 2 or 3 laps further on these, he'll have fresher tyres and a better chance of getting to the end than his teammate Charles Leclerc.
Bernie Collins.
Yes, and just as that graphic shows there, the difference between the Ferrari and the Mercedes strategy. Mercedes gained those 10 seconds, as Ted said, during the first VSC, and what they're hoping for is that their second pit stop, if they gain a second, manage to get another VSC or another safety car, they'll save that time again, and that's what they're banking on this Australian Grand Prix, is the uncertainty that we know is coming with lots of retirements that we're seeing throughout it. So the Mercedes is, if they get another safety car, will have saved a full pit loss effectively and have quicker tyres for the stints in between.
Aston Martin decided to bring Fernando Alonso back into the garage after making some adjustments to their car. That's why he's rejoined the race. And here's the race for the lead. Lewis Hamilton hasn't pitted yet. Lap 27 of 58, and he's got a gap of about 9/10 of a second to George Russell. Russell has pitted. Every single driver has been into the pits in this race other than Lewis Hamilton, 2-time winner here in Albert Park. And whilst we watch this battle, Sergio Perez has just been noted for ignoring blue flags. I know he's been away from a year, Martin, but he must remember the blue flags.
Yeah, so he's not been letting the leaders through. He doesn't seem very happy. He didn't seem happy when I spoke to him on the grid either, did he, Sergio Perez? But we're approaching half distance, and we've still got 8, as Lance Stroll picks the Aston Martin, we've still got 18 runners out on the track. Alonso still hasn't got past Bottas yet in terms of laps.
George Russell hasn't got past Lewis Hamilton yet, but it's coming. It really is coming, and there's a gap on the inside. Russell's going to take it. George Russell retakes the lead of the Australian Grand Prix. It's another Ferrari he's had to overtake, not Charles Leclerc this time. He's pitted and he's down in 4th. George Russell breezes past Lewis Hamilton, who's been running those tyres now for 27 laps. And let's see what he can do now, out in front and not under pressure from a car right up his gearbox.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily about battery. That is, as Lewis Hamilton does peel into the pit lane, that is just getting much better drive, using 1,000 horsepower off the corner, getting much better drive out of the corner with traction with the tyres.
Talking of tyres, Max Verstappen has just been on the radio saying that his tyres are terrible. 9 laps he's had those mediums on for. Hard tyre for Lewis Hamilton. Listen how he has to keep the revs so high when he's in that pit box, and he comes out behind his teammate Charles Leclerc. But Charles Leclerc has been running his hard tyres for 3 laps, so Lewis has what is called a 3-lap offset strategy.
Okay, I think the one stop is viable.
Copy that.
If there's anyone who can do it, it's George Russell, Martin.
Yep, the tyre whisperer when he needs to, isn't he? And of course they don't have to. Remember, he got disqualified in Spa. He got disqualified in Spa
Yeah,
because
that's
he won the race, but he basically used the tyres for twice as long as anybody thought they could. But that doesn't matter anymore because the car is weighed, and then the weight of 4 tyres is added to it. So it doesn't. That's not a concern if you wear your tyres thin now.
724 kilos plus the mass of the tyres. You're right. Arvid Lindblad with the lock up there. Ollie Bearman will see that and think, oh, goody. Might just be on for a little overtake coming up. Alex Albon is behind his teammate Carlos Sainz, Williams 12th and 13th currently. And I reckon it's about 44 laps that George Russell's got to put in, maybe 42 laps that he's got to put in to go to the end of this race on the tyres that he's currently running. So that is a whisper and a half, that is.
We'll see what his pace is like. So now the Ferraris are in the 22s and George is in the 1-minute 23s. He has just passed Colapinto, but traffic, actually the 18 runners are nicely spread out around the track to an extent at the moment. So picking off the back markers, not too much of a problem.
Okay, Virginia Water, the birthplace of Arvid Lindblad. Chelmsford, the birthplace of Ollie Bearman. It's Surrey against Essex. Out on the track currently, rookie against, well, driver going into his 28th Grand Prix. Arvid Lindblad, I think, has done really, really well so far this weekend. He led his teammate Liam Lawson for every session, practice and qualifying, right up until the last lap in Q3. But he's now racing. He did more laps than anyone else in Bahrain in the second test. He can cope with the demands of these cars, but under racing conditions, it's different.
Super impressive. And he's coped with with Verstappen in his mirrors. He's coped with the start, the first lap, and he's just done an outstanding job. But Bernie has more news for us.
Yeah, we're just going to come in quickly on the Ferrari v Mercedes race, how it stands at the minute. At the moment, Russell would have a safety car window over the 2 Ferraris, but that's not going to last for long because the 2 Ferraris are currently around 0.5 of a second quicker a lap with that much fresher hard tyre, and that's what they're banking on. They can close that safety car window and force the Mercedes into another pit stop or to emerge behind under a safety car. So they're hoping that tyre offset will bring them good.
Just explain